Okay, great. Welcome everybody to this week's our second iteration of the community and developers call, specifically for DeFiChain. Just a short introduction. I'm Fabio. I do community work both for Cake Group and DeFiChain as a community and as an ecosystem. And I want to introduce Swarnaba to you. He's the DevRel, so he's the person responsible for facilitating the communication between the community and the core development team. And after I give the mic to Swarnaba for a short intro, Prasanna will take over. Swarnaba, you have the floor.
Yeah. Hey, hi everyone. I hope I'm audible. Myself Swarnaba, and I'm based out of India, living in Bangalore. And yeah, like I manage the DevRel side in DeFiChain, and like mostly my work revolves around managing the communication between the community to our devs and the team, and managing some partnerships and doing tutorials, docs, and things like that. So yeah, anyone in like with any doubt or anything, please reach out to me on dev Discord. I feel free to tag me over there, and I will try to get the things resolved as soon as possible, or I will pass it to the concerned team. So yeah, nice to meet you all, and now I'll pass it to Prasanna.
Thank you. Awesome.
All right. Thanks, Swarnaba. Hey, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Earth Day as well today, I think. Cool. Okay, let's get started. I think today I'll be covering for a few people in my team, so we'll have this short, but we probably will also give us a little bit more time so we can discuss with the community a little bit more on what other issues are there. Okay, just give me one moment. All right, I'll just share my screen on the usual high-level board. Okay, so key updates in terms of the stable release for the update is just to summarize. Changi stock split has been done, and then about future swap was tested on testnet. So we had a couple of beta releases over the last few weeks, and the beta 2 is the current one. We expect a beta 3 today or tomorrow. So beta 2 pretty much had everything. However, in terms of stock split, there was some feedback, and I think Kugi also pointed out that on the EVM layer, the accounting was not complete. As in, it would have still gone ahead with it, but it would have been very confusing accounting. So Jeremy has been working on a little bit of refinements there. I think it would be a really nice way. Once we're done with it, I think Jeremy can cover that a little bit more. But that's primarily the key blocker at the moment. So we're working on that. And once that's done, we'll have another beta. Once the beta is done, we'll do a couple of more stock splits on Changi. We're not going to do stock split on testnet because at least from this point on, we'll try to keep testnet as close as possible to mainnet. So once everything looks good on Changi, and then we'll just move ahead. So if everything else looks good, because stock split is really the only thing that's pending, and most of stock split stuff is just internal, we just need to do all the internal calculations. If everything works well, then towards the end of the week, we can set a stable release, and then which will fork about 10 days after. So we still have just dedicated testnet time as well as a 3-week testnet time, if at all there's anything else for everybody to test and go through. Yeah, so that's a larger level update. And then digging a little bit more into, so layer 0 probably I'll have more updates on the next one. So there's been some exciting progress, but we'll cover that in the next one. For now, layer 1, so Ocean API, currently largely there are 2 things that are going in parallel. One is the Ocean stuff, so that's been continuing on. And then the rest of the stuff is mostly focused on just testing for the current hard fork. So Ocean stuff, I think we've internally started actually testing it. Maybe Jeremy can touch up on if there are any more updates, but very likely probably in the next coming weeks, we'll have a branch ready for public as well to test it. Long story short, it completely brings in what we call as Ocean API entirely into the node. So you no longer will need to run another service and then have nodes after that. It's just going to be, you just deploy a series of nodes, and that's about it. It'll automatically have Ocean inbuilt. This will simplify infrastructure, all of that. Then trace transaction should be ready. So if you want to try it out, so the best place is, so there's a particular branch for it. So all the trace transaction stuff is being done on one branch. I think they've been updated during the last month, but there were a few things that were incomplete. Now it's all pretty much done. However, it's not rolled into master yet. There are two reasons. One is until the release, we don't want to bring in something large. So once a stable is set, then we'll start merging in. And there's also one small issue where everything works as expected, but some things can stall the node at the moment. So we're still investigating that before actually merging this in. So that's on the trace transaction side. So if you're a developer who requires that, please feel free to take that branch for a spin and then actually try it out. So it should, the feature-wise, it should work at the moment. I think there was also some questions on JavaScript Tracer. So JavaScript Tracer, at least in the next 2 to 3 month roadmap, it's not on our roadmap. But if somebody from the community wants to pick it up, happy to help there, happy to help review the PRs and guide through on how to do it. So that's Trace. And then RPC improvements, I don't think I need to touch on that. Stock splits, again, it was completed and then moved back here primarily because of the part that Jeremy's working on. Leave it to Jeremy to add some updates on that. Then FutureSwap is pretty much done. I think that we can actually say that it's fully complete now. I think I can actually move that to complete. Has there anybody else who's been testing FutureSwap? If there's anything else that we need to add on there? Okay. If not, anyway, during the final, after the status updates, feel free to share your feedback as well. Dynamic initiative is not going to be done. So I also want to touch up a little bit on the node busy loop investigation. So I think 2 to 3 weeks ago, there was what was perceived as a blockchain stall. So I think it took about some 20 to 30 minutes. There were no blocks, but some people perceived it as a much longer time because their node was rolling back and forth. So just a little bit of a postmortem summary on that was a one-off transaction. It was a transaction that had 26, that went across 26 pools. The address was something that had to accumulate rewards across 26 pools. And it was an address that was not unused, used for a very, very long time. So just some background on it is whenever an address is used, the node at that point in time will calculate all of the rewards and bring that address on par to the latest one in a very lazy way. So it does all the compute in a lazy way so that we don't have to calculate for every address at every block. That's practically impossible. So the algorithm is not something that's the most efficient at this point. However, it's the one that we've used for the last 2 years, and it has a lot of caveats and a lot of nuances. There used to be quite a few bugs there. So we didn't want to touch that core because now the core is stable. However, the impact is performance-wise, it can take a significant amount of time when it's an unused address for a very, very long time. So what happened 2 weeks ago, 2 to 3 weeks ago, was essentially one of those unused addresses ended up accumulating. So the node had to calculate all these 6 months rewards for this one. It's essentially, you can think of it as some kind of a whale address when it comes to pools. So that's basically what happened, and it's the likeliness of that happening is very, very small. And again, it can also not be used as an attack vector because even if you were to think about using it as an attack vector, you need to plan 6 to 8 months ahead, and you need to have incredible amount of pools and not use it. And the first time, and still your impact is probably about 20 minutes, right? So 10 to 20 minutes, which is still within, at least with the current context, it's still within the usual operational limits or probabilities. So that's usually what would happen. But everybody perceived it. I think significant amount of people perceived it as a much larger time window. It was because there were multiple blocks, multiple forks, and then the chain was sort of jumping back and forth. We observed it we went and looked through some of the nodes that we have access to, and then what the behavior that we observed was about half the network was on the right chain. The rest of the half was something that had to do some of these rollbacks. And of course, by definition, 1/3 of the network is always going to be on the right chain. And as long as 1/3 of the network is on the right chain, so it's not something that we need to be worried about from a security standpoint. Yeah, so this is kind of just a postmortem on what happened. But at the moment, it's also not a big impact thing that we need to think about because of the fact that, if for something like this to happen, it's somebody needs to do this for like 6 months, and they may get an opportunity once in a while in like 6 months. And the outcome of it is still, it's not that significant for us to go dig into that complex algorithm at this point. That being said, I think there were also a couple of ideas on how we can improve. If somebody wants to work on it, that would be great. The impact would actually be significant because that is a perf hotspot. However, testing that is going to be quite complex, so we need to do a full series of do full syncs. CI can do full syncs. If somebody's working on it, just reach out to one of us, or if somebody would like to take that. All right, so that should be the busy loop investigation, and then I'll just cover a few short updates on from testing point of view. So Peter's not here, so I'll just cover from his side. Yeah, Peter has primarily been doing a lot of future swap related stuff, testing related to that, and he also fixed a bug where there could be edge cases where if somebody sets it manually in such a way that device could be 0. So that's fixed now. It shouldn't affect the existing network because nobody has set it in such a to enable such a condition, but it's basically just a protection for that. And also list loan token liquidity just to reflect some of these things. So there's been updates on that. And then Peter has also been doing mocknet and testnet updates for everything. And I think so far, the feedback is that everything looks good. All right, so with that, I'll hand it off to Jeremy.
Sure. Hey guys, how are you doing? So yeah, lately I'm working on, well, what we realized last week for the token split on the EVM side is that it wasn't correctly picked up by BlockScout, which means that the split actually happened, but you have no logs or no trace on BlockScout on the EVM side. So this is not the best behavior. Even if the behavior is right, then as an end user, you don't get what's really happening. So what we're trying to do, what we decided on doing is that we'll be upgrading the DST20 contract. So we'll do a DST20 V2, which has an additional method, such as transfer or migrate tokens or something like this. And this one will, well, the end result will be that we trigger a transfer from on the original contract. So you'll get a transfer in of the token, the old token, and then you'll get a transfer out back to the address. So you'll get 2 sets of logs on BlockScout, and you'll get a 2 token transfer, like the old token transfer to the DST20 contract, and then back to the sender. So it just to improve the user experience, basically. And yeah, that's about it. That's what I've been working since Friday. So this was decided on Friday, so I will try to wrap it up this week. And then on the side, we're still working on merging the Ocean work. All of the indexing is done. So all the indexing part is finished. We're just missing a few APIs. And yeah, basically testing, going for 100% test coverage. Yeah, no regression, and yeah, that's about it. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm this month. So let's talk about this month, because the next thing will be next month, the community one. I will be also taking over the trace transaction, the trace block, debug trace call, and things like this. So yeah, the initial PR should be ready to go, and then I need more time to get into it, to review it, and taking over. That's about it.
All right. Thanks, Jeremy. Jeremy, on that note, since we have community members, the Ocean one, I believe, is ready for them to test, right? So they can pick up the new branch.
For internal testing, yeah, it should be, like alpha testing should be ready to go.
Yeah, of course, it goes without saying, please don't run it on production nodes, but yeah, there's still a couple of APIs to be implemented, I believe, but whatever you want to take up, the community wants to help test that would actually be great. That would be the new infrastructure.
Okay, I will update the tracker issue, but basically to run it, you just need to sync back the node with an additional flag, which is -ocean archive flag, and then you have Ocean running onto your node, and you get the new API and you get the new indexes. So it's pretty easy to run. Yeah.
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, so that'll be a pretty large change. So after that, everybody has access to Ocean locally as well. So that'll be a pretty big change to come in. Cool. Also, on the other part, stock split is going to be the key priority for us. However, it's a tracer as well. I think people can run it, so I already mentioned that. Is there anything else that we want to let people test in a separate branch?
Well, the tracer, we have the issue where when you use the tracer, then the node gets out of sync with the network and cannot sync anymore. And this, I need to investigate it. I haven't started investigating it. Niven was doing it last week. And well, he had no idea of what was going on, so it's hard for me to say. But if someone wants to try it out, he has to run the latest branch, the latest trace transaction branch, which would be, I can check the PR.
All right.
2,881. This is the PR to run. And then if you do a few calls to trace transaction, at some point you will get out of sync of the network. You will have a state mismatch, and we don't know where this is stemming from.
Yeah, and also, so if ideally this coming month, I think this will probably keep. This is significant enough stuff for everybody to keep working on testing as well. But if somebody wants to test anything else related to performance, there's also the snapshot on block PR. So we're not merging it at the moment because we don't want to, again, bring in more variables for the current release. However, the snapshot on per block is the next one that's been ready for a while, but once the release is set, we'll start merging it in, and that's a great PR for people who want to test. But that alone will not enable performance. So currently it doesn't use the snapshot. But if anybody wants to test, that's another really great one because that will be going in pretty quickly. Okay, all right. So I think that should be the general updates. Anything else from your team, Jeremy? Because I think let's keep it short. Let's keep it just.
Well, yeah, like I said, it's mostly working on the missing APIs, and there's a few existing ones that are failing, mostly typing stuff. So no index related issues, but mostly API issues. So both Webster and Nagarj are working on this.
Cool, excellent. All right, anybody else wants to add on anything purely from an engineering point of view from our engineering team? Okay. All right, if not, Fred, any operational updates, anything from your side?
Yep. So regarding the CFP payout for the latest one, it's more or less ready for your purview. And second is we are trying to implement oracles on the testnet regarding IBIT and the rest that is upcoming. So once testnet execution is ready and done, essentially we should be able to implement IBIT on mainnet. Then we will be able to close the defib that was passed. Yep, so that's about it.
Cool, excellent. So I think this for testnet and then mainnet, so I think we can expect in about conservatively 2 weeks. I think it'll probably happen before, but yeah, conservatively within the next 2 weeks should be. Okay, cool. I think that's it for the large updates. Fabio, anything else, or we can open it up for a community discussion? Anything else?
Yeah, I would suggest opening this up to the community. So if you have a specific question for Fred on the product side, for Jeremy, or for Prasanna, for anybody, please keep in mind this is a tech specific call. We're talking about the product, we're talking about the chain and roadmap. This is not a price or an investment discussion, just taking that away. So if you have any questions, if you want to address something, please feel free to raise your hand and activate your mic and talk directly to the team. Don't be shy. Just want to remind you here that the next call is going to be on the 3rd Monday in May. So speak now or wait another 4 or 5 weeks until the next call. Yeah, let's give it another 30 seconds or a minute for the community to raise a hand, or if you don't want to speak, you can also drop your questions into the Google chat.
Yeah, while we wait, actually, just one suggestion is I think we may, it might actually be white third Monday. Let's start with first Mondays. Yeah, maybe we can skip, why don't we skip May and then start in June from the very first Monday? I think there's no reason to unnecessarily complicate it as third Monday.
Sure, whatever works for you.
Yeah, we started out with third Monday because I think we just wanted to get it going, and that was the next Monday that was coming up. But I think now, yeah, so now that we're starting to do this regularly, I think we can simplify things. And so, yeah, so if everybody here is okay with that, I think let's switch it for the next one to, I think it'll be June
3rd. Yeah, that would be June 3rd. Yeah, sure. One last opportunity for the community to raise questions here. Just leave a text in chat or put your hand up and activate your mic if you have a direct question. Cool. I think everything seems to be clear. Means Prasanna, you did a great job in summarizing everything. Highly appreciated that you guys from the tech side take the time to really run us through. I think that's a major stepping stone when it comes to transparency. Of course, everybody that has tuned in, thank you for your attention and your time as well. And I think we can call it a day.
Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good week.
Thanks all. Just also, if you have any feedback on what we can add, what we can remove, if there's anything more in terms of details that people would like to hear, just let us know, and then we can. These community calls are meant to be, a little bit interactive and also iterative in the sense how we structure them. So please feel free to share if you have any suggestions on how we can improve this. All right, so cool. All right, thanks. Have a good week, everyone. Bye.